Brandon Aiyuk, more drama surrounding this situation. As I told every single one of you, this was going to get out of hand because of the Niner way of waiting and letting A.J. Brown sign his deal, letting Amon-Ra St. Brown sign his deal, letting even Ridley and every player in between and before and after. Every single contract is tied to the next one. No matter if the player is JJ getting so much more than Aiyuk will ever see, it still pulls everybody's guaranteed money up. And the Niners are now in a pickle because he wants, according to reports, Amon-Ra St. Brown money, which is going to be near impossible to get from a 49er organization that probably had their expectation downstream at around the Ridley deal. So drama is going to build the likelihood of Aiyuk playing on his fifth-year option, banking on himself, and trying to go get the bag next year. That increases a ton. I'd say it's a 50% chance at best that Aiyuk signs a long-term deal with the 49ers. Not to mention, if they go to the table with the new expectation of the Amon-Ra St. Brown money, which is what the report's reporting, and this is coming from even Raj, RSF 49ers, everybody's reporting this. This is not speculation by any means. This Amon-Ra St. Brown money that Aiyuk now wants that he won't get, if he gets a disrespectful counter or a hell no from the Niners, expect the trade request to happen. We've got A.J. Brown looking yoked. We got Watson looking healthy. We've got JD5, just talking about JD5 just because, the Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news edition, Monday through Friday edition, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday edition begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So here we are, like we usually are, talking about Brandon Aiyuk at least once or twice a week. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I'm not trying to talk about it. No, this isn't a favorite topic of mine by any means. No, this is not some sort of like twisted Niner channel. The Niners just are always in offseason drama because they handle the offseason piss poor, if you ask me. They have one of the best teams in the National Football League. Easily top 2 or 3 overall talent on this squad. But Kyle Shanahan is where my problem lies. And that's never going to change. He's an awful head coach. He's an outstanding offensive coordinator. Maybe one of the very best to ever offensive coordinate in the NFL. And that overshadows a lot of his deficiencies as a head coach because people say, well, how does he such a bad head coach, Smitty? If he's such a bad head coach, Smitty, how does he get to the Super Bowl and championship game so much? Because he's a great offensive coordinator. So much so that his team carries him there. But then he drops the ball in the big game. Then what does he do in the offseason? Drops the ball again. This Niner way is sure working out real well, isn't it? You got this right here, St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. This is the deal that reportedly Brandon Aiyuk wants, which this deal includes a 4-year, $120 million contract, $30 million a year, signing bonus $6.5 million, guaranteed at signing 34, total guaranteed $77 million. $77 million. I can guarantee you, almost guarantee you, that you could have, if you're the Niners, you could have signed this man during the Ridley time frame at about 58, 62 million guaranteed. At about 27, 26, 27, maybe 27.5, maybe 28, but 27 million per season. This man's going to want 30. This man is not going to get it from this Niners organization. And the only reason he wants 30 is because he's witnessed every one of these contracts come down. And now you're going to have the fan base irate at Brandon Aiyuk. Everything you're hearing and reading in the live chat right now, I don't think Aiyuk will get that. But if he does, wow, right? That's a comment. Aiyuk might be worth it, but he hasn't proved it. You're going to hear the fan base start turning on him like they did Deebo Samuel. This Niner fan base, they're very loyal. They're a very good fan base, I will say. They're very, very much into their team. They'll back their team no matter what, but they'll also turn on a player the moment they hold out, the moment they get hurt. Mostert dealt with a whole bunch of horrible threats and horrible comments constantly when he got injured in San Francisco. Deebo Samuel got absolutely raked over the coals for holding out and all the antics he had in his holdout season. And I believe he probably got over it, but it was really hard for him too, because the fan base was absolutely brutal to him, to the point where he even makes a lot of comments now, like, you guys, calm down, chill, whatever, because the fans go at him and talk about different things he posts. Well, these players post this stuff to get attention. These players will post a poop emoji like Aiyuk did the moment that John Lynch got done with a press conference saying this and that and how they were going to work this out. And Aiyuk immediately put a turd emoji in his stories to send a message, and he knew everyone would send it out. They unfollow teams and follow teams. They unfollow people or whatever to ignite conversation. Then when the fan base looks at everything they do, they go, you guys need to relax and stop overanalyzing everything we post on social media. Well, you use it as a platform. It's not our fault. It's no one's fault for overanalyzing what players post on social media. Their job is a different job. They're in the social media world in a different way we are. So I don't feel bad for any player or anybody that's out there doing this. I get hate all the time. People get hate all the time when you put yourself in a social media spotlight. It is what it is. Move around it, And Aiyuk, this is going to get ugly because he's going to get attacked by the Niner fan base more than anybody. Hey, you're not worth it. Get out of here. Trade the bum. It's going to be constant berating. Every time you go into a live stream, he's not worth it. Let him go. He's not worth it. Send him packing. Mark my words, a trade request is coming if the Niners don't bring an offer remotely close to 4 years, $30 million. It's not his fault because the market increased. Everybody's saying Aiyuk is out of his mind asking for $30 million a year. He is not. The Niners were out of their minds for allowing it to get to this point. And a trade request is probably coming and looming. And there's not much more to say about this because I've already said it till I'm blue in the face. The Niners screwed the pooch on this one, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon. So there's that. This guy going on to some positive news. Looking yoked. Look at A.J. Brown in massive shape. Look at this kid. This guy is absolutely out of his mind in shape. A.J. Brown looking ripped. Ready to rumble, ready to have a top, 10, 11, 12, 13 overall fantasy football season. He's going at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in a dynasty, not a dynasty, in a best ball draft on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Hit this link if you guys want to draft. We'll probably be drafting tonight, I imagine. So hit that link and a minimum of $10, they'll give you 50% your first deposit. So if you deposit $10, the minimum, they'll give you $5. You deposit $100, they'll give you $50. All the way up to $250. So if you deposit $500, they'll give you $250. So hit that link right now and get ready to draft. But this guy's going at 9, 10, 11, 12, sometimes 7, 8. And you can't blame him. Or anybody for taking him at 7, 8, 9. Look how yoked he is. He's ready to rumble. This guy is as fit as DK Metcalf. When they stand side by side, it's like they're both absolutely ripped. DK's just a little bit taller. But this guy is shredded and ready to rumble. You know who's going to dominate this year? The Philadelphia Eagles. You know who's going to dominate this year? Jalen Hurts. You know who's going to prove all the doubters wrong? Jalen Hurts. You know who's going to prove all the doubters wrong? Saquon Barkley. You know who's going to be better than anybody ever thought he could be, because none of us know how good he could be. No one knows his real ceiling value. Not you, not me, nobody. And that's Saquon Barkley, because we've never seen Barkley in a great offense. What's it going to look like? Is there a world where Saquon Barkley is the number 1 overall running back in 2024 at season's end? It's going to be crazy. Dominic says, sorry, but as a Niner fan, our old ways was going to find a way to kill us now. I'm telling you, Dominic, as much Niner hate as I get from hardcore Niner fans that say, Smitty, you're just a Niner hater, you're a Shanahan hater. Look, I'm just real. And most of what I say in a Niner live stream with Raj, I end up being called right at the end of the day when it's all said and done. I've gone into Raj's live stream over and over saying that every deal is going to affect Brandon Aiyuk's deal. They laugh at me. I said AJ Brown's deal, $84 million guaranteed, affects Aiyuk. He's not AJ Brown. No one thinks he's AJ Brown. No crap. But it affects Aiyuk's deal. Every contract is interconnected. Every guaranteed piece of money above you pulls your guaranteed piece of money up. That's why he's asking for Amon-Ra St. Brown money, which he wouldn't have asked if he went first. Whichever player goes first gets paid less. That's how it works. Why are the Niners so confused about this? Why do the San Francisco Niners not understand how this very simple process works? You go first, you get paid less. Yet they want to wait to pay Brandon Aiyuk. They want Brandon Aiyuk to look at the market and say, oh, God, I guess I'm worth more than $25 million. I myself, I'm Brandon Aiyuk talking, right? I myself think I'm as good as St. Brown. We might know he's not. Okay, he doesn't. And you can't really blame him because in his mind, he's not getting the targets that St. Brown's getting. We might use that as evidence of why he does not deserve to get St. Brown money. We're using logic to break it down, but Aiyuk is not going to. Aiyuk in his mind probably thinks he deserves the $84 million guaranteed that AJ Brown does. Doesn't mean he's right, but that's what world that Brandon Aiyuk lives in. Do you understand what I'm saying? No one has to agree what he should get paid. The only thing that really matters is what Brandon Aiyuk thinks he should get paid. So St. Brown, this guy right here, AJ Brown, affecting the market. Look how yoked he is. He's ready to go. He's ready to rumble. This guy's going to the freaking moon today. I don't know what's going on. I mean, goodness gracious, look at the size of the man. AJ Brown to the moon, no doubt about it. Send him. Where were we at? We got Aiyuk out of the way. I mean, it's not out of the way. It's still very much in conversation here. Here's another report here. Jeremy Fowler. I was told the benchmark is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got $28 million a year for 4 years. Didn't he get $28 million? What's this report saying? The report we have says 30. Discrepancy. Aiyuk wants 30. Aiyuk wants 30, not 28. He wants 30. It's going to get crazy. AR5 going to, dare I say, Mars?
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
AR5, look at him. Take it in, absorb it. Take it.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly.
Much easier if you lay back, let it happen. This guy's going to be a Mars man explosion coming in 2024. You can wave from afar and say, I don't trust him. He runs too much. He's going to get hurt again, Smitty. He runs the ball. Anthony Richardson says, I won't change the way I play football in 2024 because I got hurt. You can be scared if you want. You scared Scotty. You petrified Peter. You worried William. I'm Anthony Richardson. I'm a 5. 5s aren't scared of running the football. 5s aren't scared of anything. 5s, in fact, 5s are absolutely unafraid of anything, even explosions.
There are 2 5s? KD5, AR5?
1 second.
There can't be.
Not only are they not afraid of explosions, they're not afraid of even crossing streams.
There are 2 5s? KD5, AR5? There can't be.
Oh no.
They're gonna cross streams.
It's as simple as that. It comes down to gigawatts, flux capacitors. It comes down to schematics that are involved in the radioactive waves of AR5 crossing streams with JD5. And I like this comment. Even this comment has a little bit of negativity to it, which is fine because opinions rule the world, right? And that's what I love about this channel. No one's held victim to their differing opinion. It's all about, are you respectful to the channel? Are you respectful to your community more so than me or anybody else? I want you respectful to each other. I love differing opinions. And I kind of agree with Brandon's comment in a way that, like, yeah, AR5 isn't going to quit running. You can run away from that if you want, you scared Scotty out there. But Brandon's saying AR5's either MVP or injured reserve. Look, that's the way he rolls. And I don't care, and I have no problem with it. And if you sign up for the AR5 experiment in 2024, you know what you're getting involved in. And I don't want to hear a single complainer about it later. Hey, you got hurt again. I knew it. You didn't know it or you wouldn't have done it, Bob.
You've just been Smitty disciplined.
That's probably something I can't stand more than anything. I knew it. You didn't know it or you wouldn't have done it. A guy told me that my whole life growing up. You could call him a friend's father in a fantasy league. Constantly would always say this. He was the older guy in the group, and he'd always say, I knew it. If you didn't know it or you wouldn't have done it. Shut up.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
I knew it. Buckeye says AR5 is my dynasty QB in front of Tua. Look, AR5 is going to play top 5 value. Anyway. So more news dropping as we speak. I'll monitor the news wire here. JD5 to the moon. Look, JD5 has been looking magnificent, looking on point, precision accuracy, looking fantastic, hitting all of his wide receivers and pass catchers, building early rapport with Luke McCaffrey, who's becoming very, 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 a crafty pick for me. Late in best ball drafts, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, where they're going to give you 50% of your first deposit up to $250, meaning you drop 500, they give you 250. You drop the minimum of $10, they give you 5. You drop 20, they give you 10. Hit that link, you'll be drafting with us later. And Luke McCaffrey, Ben Sinnott, this Washington Commander team. Hey Smitty, Chicago, why don't you like Caleb? So you don't like Caleb? I don't understand it, Smitty. He's set up so good. There's no rookie QB set up better than Caleb Williams. I call cap on that 100,000 times out of 1,000. 100,000. 100,000 times out of 100,000. Why? Because I believe, this man believes, I don't care what anybody else believes, but I believe that the Washington Commanders are set up better for success than Chicago Bears are. And you can say whatever you want, laugh, but history's on our side, if you believe that with me. The Chicago Bears cannot develop a quarterback. I'm not saying the Washington Commanders have been perfect in that category, or any category for that matter. They've been pretty putrid for a while. But you're talking about a guy in JD5 that if you can't see the difference between him and Caleb Williams, then I don't know what you're doing here, to be honest with you. This guy feels the part, looks the part, is absolutely getting the most out of all of his guys. This early rapport with Luke McCaffrey, has one of the best GMs in football. Don't tell me Ryan Poles is one of the best GMs in football. I'll laugh probably till the end of the night. Constantly. Look, has he done some good things? Yeah. Do I believe in him yet? No, I don't. Do I think he made the right decision in going and getting Caleb? No, I don't. Do I think he's made bad decisions? I actually do. Do I think keeping Fields, developing Fields properly because they didn't and then they blamed it on him, and people that don't know football say Fields failed? Fields didn't fail. They failed Fields, which will probably fail Caleb. And if you think that the Chicago Bears, who continue to fail their quarterbacks over and over and over, are a better landing spot for a quarterback because they did draft my boy Adunze, if you think that solves the problem, then I've got a bridge to sell you. Because this guy has Adam Peters a talent scouting savant, just like Shanahan is a play calling and play architecting savant. Adam Peters finds talent like no other. He went after Ben Sinnott, probably the Laporta of this tight end draft class in 2024. You want a Laporta of this year? Go look at Ben Sinnott, Washington rookie tight end, who's been working with JD5 like a madman in rookie camp, and they've been building that rapport. Then Luke McCaffrey. You go and get Christian McCaffrey's brother. This kid looks pretty special, converted quarterback. You know, Washington's got a history with taking guys that have been converted, don't have a lot of resume, and they did this with Gibson. Luke McCaffrey is a quarterback converted to wide receiver that can kind of do it all, and he's picking things up really quickly, and I love the role he has. McLaurin is like a hidden DJ Moore, about ready to be unlocked. He could be a top 10 wide receiver with ease this year. And Dotson was totally running solid routes, had good route runs across the board metrics-wise, but wasn't thrown to properly by his quarterback last year. And so you can say what you want about Dotson, but Dotson wasn't the problem. This guy's going to find Dotson. This guy's going to unlock Dotson. This guy's going to rejuvenate McLaurin. This guy's going to unlock Sinnott and maybe Luke McCaffrey. And maybe Eckler has more to show for one calendar year than any of us expect. Maybe they use him properly. I trust Adam Peters, the guy that found Kittle, the guy that found Brock Purdy, the guy that found so many other pieces in the Niners' history. This is the scout they brought over to be the GM of the Washington Commanders. Brings in Kingsbury, brings in JD5, brings in Ben Sinnott, brings in Luke McCaffrey. It's coming. It's coming. Melvin Torres celebrates his 20-month. Appreciate you, Melvin. We've got a super chat rock out, dropping a super thank you rock out. We got JJ will want 35 to 40 million. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that one single bit. Let me see if we have anybody dropping. Just became a member. Martin just became a member. Appreciate you, Martin, for becoming a member. Rock out. Appreciate your super chat, my guy. Rock out to the moon. Thank you, Buckeye, for your comment. Celebrating his 20-month membership with us. Just dropping a line. Torres, where have you been, pal? We need to see you here more often. Appreciate you being here. That's the news. That is the news. 22 minutes in. Probably a record speed for us to get through all the news. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in, dial in, dial in. Oh, Watson. I'm sorry. Thank you. Carrie says, what about Watson? Okay, we're not done. Christian Watson, the report on Christian Watson is that he figured out his hamstring situation, which is really, really solid news. I've talked about compensation injury before with you guys. I feel like we cover injury better than anybody. You got doctors trying to play fantasy. Yes, they got more knowledge than your boy Smitty. Yes, they got experience with the anatomy and the body and injuries more than your boy Smitty. But there's nobody that does injury better relating to fantasy football than this channel or your boy. Because I've done it for 20 plus years. And the topic of compensation injuries is a very, very important topic, because when you have an injury, an ACL injury, a hamstring injury, any sort of injury that can linger, an Achilles injury, you have what oftentimes occurs where one leg is lesser size than the other leg, especially when you come back from an ACL tear, especially when you come back from an Achilles tear. Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins are both at risk of not just re-tearing their torn Achilles, but more so tearing their other Achilles tendon. An ACL torn running back recovering has a greater chance, in many cases at least, to tear the other ACL, not re-tear the recovering ACL. Because their leg is smaller, their leg is not up to par, they're rushing to get back, and they're compensating. So every time they're running, they're putting more force on their left leg, if that's their good leg, and less force on their right leg, and it's a trust factor. And so in the case where Watson has had hamstring injuries that have never healed in the past, he didn't have symmetry in his legs equal And so he had one leg stronger than the other, and it was causing like a load problem. Full load drop on one of the legs and not on the other. Where's our initiate full load drop when you need it? I think it's somewhere around here. I think I got it. Somewhere around here. Here we go.
Initiate full load drop.
So the new report is that he figured out what the problem was. I mean, I could have told him compensation injury, but it was compensation injury. It's getting his legs stronger, getting them to match, to work them out properly, to rehab them properly, to finally get over the hamstring injuries, and then keep his legs 100% healthy and keep everything the same size. So they've measured his legs. They've done different things, different tests, hours and hours of testing, and he believes he has it under control. Now, the thing we got to remember with Christian Watson is he could be one of the most explosive receivers in the National Football League. It's easy to forget how good of a prospect he was. It's easy to look at last year's failure, and I'll take ownership and take a lap on Christian Watson. I was super high on him and Dotson, and they both failed. No matter what way we spin it, wasn't necessarily directly my fault, but these players did not explode like I said. I'll take the lap. But the one thing I think we got to be careful not to do, especially when the cost of entry is so low because people have given up on them. We're not having to invest in them a second time around at the same cost of entry. That would feel reckless, and good God, are we doing this again? This is different. This is where their cost of entry is nearly free. In some cases, 80 over, 90 overall, depends on where you're drafting. And so Christian Watson may come with a lot of, he burned me last year. It's just tasteful. I don't want to go near this. But you should have a couple shares, because I promise you, if he breaks back out and does what we expected him to do, he will be an elite wide receiver. And from looking at the numbers, when he was on the field getting starter equivalent snaps, depending on how you measure that, right? He was still the number one wide receiver on the team across most of the categories and metrics. When you look at it, he was still the number one wide receiver, but he just wasn't on the field enough to dominate it, so he wasn't the number one wide receiver on the year. But when he was playing starter considered snap volume, he was the number one wide receiver on the team across the board. So Jaden Reed is my number one. Christian Watson is my number two. I don't have Wicks or Dobbs ahead of those guys. I like the values. I'm not going to say I don't. But the values of Christian Watson and Jaden Reed are pretty. Jaden Reed's climbing, but they're still pretty good. I'm not in the business of, I'll just go for the best bargain. I want to take the number one and number two wide receiver. So we do have to get in the prediction business game and say, okay, I do feel like these are the two top wide receivers. I can go value shopping for Wicks and cuff him if I want. I can cuff Dobbs. But I do believe that the number one is Reed. The number two is Watson. And I love the value of Watson. And I think he has the ability to explode. And if we look at Christian Watson game log rookie year, and we pull that sucker up, it's unbelievable what he did as a rookie. It is unbelievable when you take a look at the amount of production he had in a very, very short period of time. Let me see if I can pull up his 22 stats and put it on screen, because there was a time frame where there was no player more productive than Christian Watson. He was literally the number one wide receiver like in the league in like a 3 or 4 game span. So let's throw that on top of here and take a look at this. Okay, so where's my little highlight mark? Let's grab this. Okay, so Christian Watson, you can't really see that. Let me see if I can grab another one. Hold on. Where do I have one of those? Oh, I know where. Let's just take a little gander at the
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
Okay, I wanted to grab that little thing. Okay. So here we go. If we take a look at Christian Watson in the middle of the season here, he had 48 yards on 7 targets, 3 receptions for a touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown at 46 yards. He had a 46-yard scamper, had 2 touchdowns and well over 80 yards in this game. The very next game, 110 yards and a touchdown on 4 receptions. The very next game, 2 touchdowns and 48 yards on 4 receptions. The very next game, actually this goes in the other direction. Sorry, the very prior game was 4 receptions for 107 yards and 3 touchdowns. So in order this way: 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. It's hard to remember that he had this year as a rookie, this stretch of games. 3, 2, 1, 2. Nobody scored that amount of touchdowns. 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns in 4 games. 8 touchdowns in a 4-game period is absolutely crazy. He was Deebo Samuel in that short span, in that 4-game period. So very easy to forget how good Christian Watson could be. And most people will write you off after one misstep, one missed season, and you become a joke to them. I mean, just think about when you say, hey, Watson, could he break out? People go, Watson, what a bust, because he got injured. We don't know what he could be. He could literally become a top 15 wide receiver. He could be better than that. I think it's worth the go get. And you can't trip and fall. Anybody that says that that's a fluke or something like John, you can't trip and fall into 8 touchdowns in a 4-game period. You can have a one-off game. You can kind of have a one-off game twice in a row, but you can't trip and fall into 8 touchdowns in a 4-game period. This guy's an absolute gem in ADP value, and I love him. I love both him and Jaden Reed a ton, and Jordan Love's going to only get better. So this is a good news that Watson's figured out reportedly his hamstring issue. And it does go back to what I always talk about, compensation injury, which is always a risk for players that suffer a big injury. Now the phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right, call in. Sebastian, you are live, young man. What can I do for you, pal? What's up? Hello. Yeah, what's up?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you in the beginning. I know you've been looking at these receivers in training camp, and you like Luke McCaffrey. I wanted to ask the AR5 question. Do you have anything on A.D. Mitchell yet, as far as what he's looking like, talent and skill-wise in training camp?
I mean, I think A.D. Mitchell, nothing that I'm hearing is making me feel anything different than I felt going in. I know he's a talent. I know he's got to evolve. He's got the diabetes situation. He's got, the off the field concern, which could be tied to diabetes, because the report is, and someone with diabetes isn't a problem. It's just the reports have been he doesn't do a good job managing it. And then you got to think, like, how does that affect his, mood, or how does that affect, his decision making, or why he's getting into trouble off the field? I don't know. No one really knows. There's a lot of assumptions being made. It's hard to really, figure that out. But I just, until I see something. The way I always take fantasy football, and this is a good, I think, way to look at it for people, and I always advise people to look at it this way, that until you, if someone has multiple red flags, then I usually stay away. If he can eliminate some of those red flags, if it all comes down to just off the field issues, that's one red flag, but if he's not showing progress, or he's not looking like he's gonna, I don't know, even get the shot, or have a chance to even beat out Pittman at some point as the number 1 wide receiver, because that's what I hope he can be. He's got the talent to maybe do that. I know a lot of people love Michael Pittman Jr., but I don't think Michael Pittman Jr. is a number 1. I think he's a very, very good borderline number 1, but a high-end wide receiver 2 for a team. I think A.D. Mitchell has a chance to become the number 1 there, and once he starts impressing me, then I will jump on board very quickly because I love his situation. I love AR5. But right now I'm just kind of in a holding pattern. It's not like it's not like I am with JJ McCarthy, where it's like I doubted him coming in, and now I'm seeing nothing but things that also concern me that I didn't even really have a ton of doubt about, and now I'm even more down on JJ McCarthy. AD Mitchell has provided nothing negative, so I'm just in a holding pattern. But I'm very hopeful. I think he's a good talent. Had he gone to Buffalo, we probably would have said situation is going to override a lot of our concerns. Just like Keon Coleman, he was a guy like A.D. Mitchell that needed the landing spot, and the landing spot could override a lot of concerns. Like, I'm not going to lie and say that Keon Mitchell was my favorite. It wasn't even my number 3 or 4 wide receiver pre-NFL draft landing spots. So once the landing spots were handed out, Keon Coleman's value changed significantly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then something situational based. You know how London, he hasn't been great. He's been like a wide receiver 2 his whole career, but he's had a talent. And then now he's being drafted like as a round 2 player, but we've never seen like the ceiling for that value. What really intrigues me here is the whole Marvin Harrison Jr. thing, because we've never seen. I don't doubt his talent at all. I think we might be a year early as far as like ADP wise, because I really do think I value him similar to London, just in a way that his situation is great, his talent is great. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s talent is better, but we've never seen it like all play out. You know what I'm saying? Because like Garrett Wilson is right there, AJ Brown is right there. We've seen them like play already. What is your take on that?
To which player? You said a few.
Like
names.
Marvin Harrison, I'm valuing him close to like a Drake London, as opposed like I don't have him as high as the Garrett Wilson.
Well, I mean,
or
Sebastian, you've seen my videos, right? I mean, you know how high Marvin Harrison Jr. is my number 1 overall dynasty wide receiver.
That I can agree with for sure, though.
Yeah. So so to have that kind of value, you got to have a good rookie year. But I would say, yes, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, they could all have very similar years, no doubt about it. We're talking like 1,300 yards and 10 to 15 touchdowns. Like, and it's a big range. Like London could have 10 touchdowns or 14. Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't see how Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't have at least like 8 or 9 touchdowns in a very underwhelming rookie year. Could he have 14, 15 touchdowns? I think he could. Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is going to look like a veteran wide receiver, because he's been a veteran at every single step of the offseason, the draft, everything.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is like between London, Garrett Wilson, and MHJ, what they all have in common is we haven't seen the situation play out. And in my opinion, I think I have Garrett Wilson as 1, MHJ is 2, and London at 3 out of that entire category.
I mean,
but
you're not.
I don't know. I
just
thought they were very similar.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy. I mean, we're talking redraft, so that's fine. But I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is gonna have such a good year that it's gonna be so wild. It's gonna be so wild. This whole notion that he's going way too early. I mean, it feels that way, right? But I mean, what's he got to get to earn it? Not surpass, but to earn 12 overall value. Like 1,310 on 95 receptions, or I mean, right? I think
it's very doable for him. He's a very good player.
Yeah, his floor is probably 13, 14 overall. I think his upside is really one of those upsides that like later on we reflect on it and we start wondering how we evaluate rookie wide receivers going forward, because we just saw a rookie wide receiver, dance with the 1 and 2 and 3 overall wide receivers like all year. But we'll see. A lot of people are down on Kyler. I'm not down on Kyler. I think Kyler's perfect for Marvin Harrison Jr. That's probably the biggest negative I see floating around MHJ is, oh my God, like Kyler sucks. Like, hate Kyler Murray, you know, and that to me is a joke.
No, Kyler's perfectly fine. He's already over a year removed from the ACL. My biggest concern with MHJ is going to be probably the first 4 games, the first month of the season of just warming it up, because these rookies do finish very strong. But I think by year 2 he'll definitely be around one, like safe.
I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to start slow. But all right, hey, thanks, Sebastian. Call back if you got another one. We'll see you in a bit later.
All right, for sure.
MHJ breaks rookie records. Yeah, I think Cap, he might. I mean, Puka said some good ones, though. But if anybody can do it, it's MHJ. The only difference between Puka and MHJ is Puka, no one saw coming, right? Like, some people liked him. We drafted him a lot in best ball. I admit that, you know, coming out of the week 1, I was not expecting him to continue myself. And I changed my tune, like adjust and adapt. You know, right after the second week, I'm like, you know what? He's doing it. But we drafted him a lot in best ball. A lot. But no one saw him coming to the degree he brought it. Nobody. You know, no one could have predicted his rookie year. But MHJ doesn't mean MHJ can't beat him. It just, he's very, very, you know, it's like telegraphed. We know he's coming. So McBride benefits with MHJ there. I think so, Matt. I mean, if they had another like a Dunze or something like that, then it'd become problematic. But the fact that it's you know, Wilson and Zay Jones, very good complementary players, and it's really McBride and MHJ. There's enough volume to go around. Not to mention tight ends usually their volume is almost compartmentalized in a different way, waiting for the tight end. Doesn't really affect, you know, the receivers so much. There's enough targets to go around in the wide receiver room that MHJ can dominate all of them and get all that he needs, and it won't affect McBride having 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards even. Like, I could see McBride having like 10-10, 10-50, you know, 1-0-5-0 yardage and 10 touchdowns. 80 plus, 90 80, let's call it 85 to 95 receptions, whatever. I could see MHJ having 1,400 yards, 1,350 yards as a rookie, anywhere between 10 and 15 touchdowns, 90 to 110 receptions. Like, the range is wide. The floor is great. The floor is top 15 overall. So, just depends. Cardinals and Texans of the NFC. Yeah, Cardinals are definitely going to have a big freaking explosion, dynasty bounce back. You know, this is like we haven't been good for a while since the Kurt Warner days. So I'm excited as a Cardinal fan. But, you know, you look at these divisions too, and it's like the NFC West is one of the tougher divisions in football. I know someone might laugh at that, but they obviously don't value the Rams the way I do, and they don't see the Cardinals as I see the Cardinals. And the Seahawks, like, you look at every one of these divisions, I would say maybe the AFC has, you know, look, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Browns are probably the toughest division, I would say, in football. They're probably the toughest one. Everybody else kind of has a weak link. You know, I'm not saying Tennessee's garbage, but, you know, until Tennessee proves it, they're a weak link. This division, I mean, the Patriots are a weak link. The Miami Dolphins they may or may not be. They definitely could be solid, but they also could fall apart. They're that kind of team. The Minnesota Vikings are a weak link in this division. You've got the New York Giants are a weak link in this division. The Saints, Panthers, maybe even, I mean, the Bucks, you could say, hey, Smitty, don't underrate the Bucks. Okay, sure, fine. There's 2 weak teams in this division. The West and the NFC, I mean, all 3 of these teams, I think Seattle's going to be pretty good. You could say Seattle might be the weakest link. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's 4 really good teams that could all vie for, you know, assuming the Niners win the division, let's say. You've got the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Seahawks under Ryan Grubb's command. You know, with all the talent that they have. They have Walker, they have JSN, they have DK Metcalf, they have a improving defense and Ryan Grubb's offense, which will have way more 3 wide receiver sets out there to utilize JSN and to get the ball, you know, an aerial attack going, to have that Penix Jr. offense that Ryan Grubb led at Washington. That's what Ryan Grubb's going to do with Seattle. I think they're in the mix. So, yeah, I mean, I think I would probably say, you know, toughest division in football. We're probably looking at it right here with the Baltimore Ravens and Bengals probably leading the way there. But, you know, you got to ask yourself, what other division has 4 extremely strong teams? You know, I don't know. I think a lot of them have such strong 3 though that you can make arguments. You could say, oh, look at. I mean, I don't like this division either. You know. I don't know. I don't know. Tough to say. It's fun to do like season record prediction shows because people get so irate. People can't stand when you give them like an 8-win, 9-win season. They're like, "You kidding me? The Chargers are gonna go crazy." If I gave the Chargers 8 or 9 wins, you would see my comment section light up on fire. You know, the Denver Broncos. You don't understand what Sean Payton's going to be doing? Do you know football? Tell me you know football. The Titans should be 10, 11 wins. You know that they added to their wide receiver room? People get irate when you don't rank their team high enough. But at the end of the day, if I'm predicting things, I'm going to say Niners, Eagles, Lions, Packers, Falcons are the top teams in this conference. I obviously like where the Cardinals are going. I obviously like the Rams and their potential. Obviously like what the Washington Commanders are going to be doing this year. Obviously like a lot of things, but those are the toughest teams. Those are the playoff contending squads. Baltimore, Buffalo, Houston, Bengals, Dolphins, Chiefs, Browns, Steelers, Jets. I mean that's a little bit more of a heavy crew there. Probably I'd say AFC's a little bit heavier hitters. At the end of the day, my prediction is the Eagles face off against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Motion detected at the front door.
That's what I'm going to predict. All right, let's see here. Matt O says Chargers getting an early first-round pick in 2024. Phone lines are open. Dial in. We'll be back probably tonight to do some drafting, though. Not saying we're out of here yet, but this could be potentially an hour and 15-minute show today, depending on the phone calls.
Call into the show.
Call into the attic.shop phone line. AFC South looks good. Baltimore takes a step back this year. John, we don't agree on anything, John. Ever, bro. Elvis, what's up, Elvis? What can I do for you, Elvis? You are live on the show, Elvis. Go ahead.
What's up, Smitty?
My man.
How we doing?
Are you? Hey, Karen, can you hold on, Karen? I'm talking to Elvis.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Elvis. Hello, Elvis.
My bad. With MHJ, somebody has mentioned it on the comments, but I love what they said. It could be a St. Brown Laporta situation, especially with Benson and Connor in the backfield. But you got Kyler Murray, who's a way more dynamic quarterback than good old Goff out there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, sure.
That comparison.
Sure. I mean, look, Arizona is going to be laughable until they're not. People are going to say, oh, Arizona's going to fold, or Kyler Murray's too short, or Kyler Murray's no good. You're going to hear that. You know how many people ripped on Goff, over the years? I mean, every year people rip on Goff. Goff's garbage. Goff's terrible. Goff's blah, blah, blah. And Goff just got a big fat payday because of what he did for his team, taking his team essentially to the front door of the Super Bowl. And knocked on it, but no one answered, and then the Niners walked right in. But this Cardinal team is a couple moves away. They're essentially maybe one more offseason away. The way the Detroit Lions, the way I described the Cardinals is the Detroit Lions prior to this year. The Detroit Lions in the 2022 season, when it concluded, everybody said, holy crap, they're coming. Like, that was a great little year, and we can see this coming. This is getting telegraphed. The Lions are going to bring it in 2023, and they sure did. So I think the Cardinals will be the same way. They're going to have the same season. They're going to look really good. They're going to have the Cardinals are dogs, man. Everybody said it. All the teams that played the Cardinals said they would not go away. We ended up beating them at the end of the day, but those guys were fighting tough. The Niners even said that. Niner players. Niners love the Cardinals. Debo loves Kyler. You know that video clip. Come on, Kyler! And they're rooting for the Cardinals to win so that the Niners will win home field advantage. But the Cardinals are dogs, and you give the Cardinals MHJ, you give the Cardinals a more healthy Kyler Murray, more time to prepare, a whole offseason to prepare with MHJ. You give them a better defense. We drafted 2 cornerbacks. This is a good team that's going to be on the rise, no doubt about it. Are they a Detroit Lion capable team in 1 calendar year from today? Not this year, but next year? Yes. Could they surprise people this year? Yeah, they could. But, I mean, my expectation will be they go out and deliver an amazing product that everybody goes, holy crap, this is a good team on the rise. And they're coming. That's what I think they're going to do this year. And so, yeah, the Laporta, very much could be that kind of combination. I mean, Trey Benson is phenomenal too. So you got to. This is why they're one of the best stacks in fantasy in a way.
The stack.
You got Kyler, Harrison,
It's
Benson,
time to
McBride.
Drop the pen.
You know, in a dynasty perspective, that's a fantastic quad. Pretty affordable.
Well, yeah, I mean, so quick question for you, because I know you're pretty objective with the Niners, but the way I see it, man, they just look like an absolute train wreck. Kind of like the Eagles as a team were last year, but like 4 times worse than what the Eagles had last year, because everybody's mad on offense. I mean, nobody's getting paid. Now you got McCaffrey wanting to get paid. Like it seems like an absolute mess over there. While the Eagles, they're sitting pretty ready for.
They're paying everybody. They're paying you. They're paying you just to pay you. Like the Eagles paid AJ Brown, they didn't need to. They paid Devontae Smith, they didn't necessarily need to. But they're making their players happy. They bring in Barkley, they're paying Barkley, paying a running back. They're doing their part for bringing up the running back value. Like the Eagles are balling out, playing 5D chess. And what's so funny is that a guy with goggles on, Niner goggles, thinks that the Eagles aren't even coming for him. They don't even know. They have no clue that the Eagles had a 10 times better offseason. They have no clue that the Eagles haven't been figured out. They didn't have the proper offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. When Shane Steichen and Gannon were ripped from the OC and DC jobs, they didn't replace them right. And they still did very well. Like Hurts still had an amazing year. They just were not in tune and in sync all year, and they were trying to force a square peg into a circle like peg hole. With Swift. Like here's this, 60% receiving back, 40% rushing back, and it's like let's give him 100% of the between the tackle workload, which was a like when you look back at it, a very dumb experiment that ended up failing at the end of the year. It was very good for majority of the year. We got a lot of value out of Swift. He was a moon man, and I think he did prove us correct, and it was great to watch him succeed. But like at the end of the year, he started tailing off, and it's because they didn't bring in the right running back for the job. Saquon Barkley is going to explode, and I don't think that affects Hurts all that much. He's still going to be very productive. I'm not worried about the brotherly shove going away because Kelsey's gone. People are wild, man. It's going to be a great year. The Eagles are going to have a phenomenal season. And keep in mind, we have shorter fields now with the kickoff rules, and so Hurts is going to get probably more as well everybody, more opportunities to score. And so I don't know if you're going to be successful at it and you get more attempts, you're going to run the score up more. So it's going to be unbelievable watching the Philadelphia Eagles explode. And you're right, the Niners do feel very much like the Eagles felt last year. I wouldn't say 4 times worse. I'd just say like similar in that you've got McCaffrey potentially wanting money. You've got Aiyuk wanting money and wanting big money that they can't pay. And they screwed the pooch on that so bad, the Niners not signing him when they could have easily had him say yes to $62 million guaranteed. He would have said yes to $58 million guaranteed at the beginning of the offseason. Here's your money. Get to work. Don't focus on this. Let's give him his contract early. No, what do? Sit on it. Now he wants $77 million guaranteed. Good luck signing Brandon Aiyuk. Debo, they tried to trade both of them walking into the NFL draft, and they drafted the replacement. Like, you're telling me this? Yeah, you're telling me this team's happy? I don't think so.
Well, my last comment is about the Eagles. You mentioned the 2 corners that they drafted, but I don't know if I've heard you mention this, and I think this move might end up, it's the least headlines, but it might end up being the most impactful move on the whole team is Devin White, because that guy is like a first-team All-Pro level linebacker and heart and soul type of, like a Debo on defense type of guy. I think he's going to get them going to give Hurts and friends more possessions on offense, because he's really good. I mean, he's the reason Tampa Bay won their Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Yeah. All right, bro. All right, Elvis, call back if you got another one. All right, we're going to Karen. Karen, what's up, Karen?
Well, Elvis can stay because I would like a second opinion on this one. So here we are.
Is this Karen?
I have a question. So I watched you do a draft. I think it was just yesterday. And my only real question is why in the world, what am I missing here about everybody drafting Juju at pick 72? Like, who gets a third-string wide receiver at pick 72 and says that? Like, I don't get it. What am I missing? Because everybody's like, Juju's good.
This is why we call you. This is why we call you Fantasy Karen, JP. JP, this is why we call you Fantasy Karen. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. Juju Smith-Schuster at 70? I've never seen that.
Well, I'm in a draft right now. He just went at 72. Oh, not that Juju. I mean the Juju on the Seahawks.
That's not his name's not Juju Smith-Schuster. He's not Juju. It's JSN. What are you talking about, Karen?
Juju.
That's not Juju. His name is JSN.
All right, JSN.
It's not the same thing at all, JP. It's why we call you Karen. Okay,
what's the scoop?
Here, what's his? Let me re-ask his question for him for those that are trying to follow.
Okay.
Why is JSN going so high? Well, number one, Ryan Grubb is there. You know who Ryan Grubb is? He's the new head honcho commanding that offense, and you got Ryan Grubb, who comes from Washington, Penix Jr.'s offense. What Penix Jr. did, very much a passing attack, an arsenal. So Pete Carroll only ran 2 wide receivers a majority of the time, and JSN was regulated to, not being really a starter volume-wise. So JSN will be on the field. Think about CeeDee Lamb. Lamb plays in the slot a lot of the time. Cooper Kupp plays in the slot a majority of the time. Being the third wide receiver is sometimes, like, Kupp was never the third wide receiver, but he was the third wide receiver, like, when you look at, how you would traditionally look at the wide receivers and mark them up on a board. Because he loved the slot, he excelled in the slot. Cooper Kupp lived in the slot. Cooper Kupp dominated the slot. And CeeDee Lamb does the same thing. JSN's going to be now in a position to be all over the field. And quite honestly, it was criminal that he wasn't out there over Lockett. And I know Lockett's there still. He's not going away necessarily, but he's getting older every day. And Juju Smith-Schuster, part 2.0 that you call, his name's JSN, bro. JSN's going to explode this year. JSN's probably one of the craftiest wide receiver 3-4s in fantasy.
Gosh, okay. I had to ask that one, man. I thank you so much. I needed that. I did.
Yeah,
I did. It was a big deal to deal with the coach.
Why were you calling him Juju though? What made you even connect those dots?
I don't know. I just do. I'm a tad bit dyslexic, and okay. I see Pacheco. I think Pinocchio. I mean, there's tomato, same thing.
All right. Hey, Karen, you got any other fantasy questions?
No, that was my big one, man. I needed to know that.
What was
Thank
the
you.
reason we called you Karen to begin with? What happened?
Well, I had called in and you had asked if I wanted to be called Karen. And I said, yeah, sure, call me Karen. You said nobody's ever volunteered to be Karen. And I said, well, I volunteer right now.
But why did we do that? You had to have done something. Do you remember what it was? I don't know.
It had to be something with the Eagles, with Barkley, and when he just got traded to them.
He
That
didn't
was
get traded.
my first time calling in.
He signed. Okay. Hey, backwards, Karen. We appreciate you. If you got another question, call back in.
Oh, I know what it was. It was the music. I said I didn't like the music. The rah, 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 rah. That was it. See, I already forgot all about it.
That's right. So the reason we called him Fantasy Karen is because he called in and said that I think it was it was this one right here, the $20 super chat, right? So when someone dropped a super chat, I pressed this button.
Alert. Super chat alert.
So when I pressed that button for the first,
turn it up.
Hold
on,
on,
one time for me.
Hold
on.
Well, you gotta drop the $20 super chat. But when someone dropped a $20 super chat, I pressed that button.
Super chat.
I pressed that button.
I dropped you 50 last time. You know what? I'm going to call you tomorrow and I'll drop you 50. Don't even play it. Just wait. I want you to wait 24 hours.
I'll
I'm
wait.
going to call you tomorrow.
I'm going to be waiting.
Okay,
I'll be waiting.
and I'm going to drop you 50 tomorrow, and you can't play it until then. But then when you do play it, you got to turn that up.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you, Fantasy Karen. We'll see you later.
You're the man. All right, I'm going to call you tomorrow.
All right, later. Well, I'll be waiting. So what had happened was I played that $20 super chat, and I guess his first time watching the show, he heard it, and he said he couldn't stand the loudness of the music, so he turned the show off. And then he came back like a year later or 6 months later and realized he made a mistake because he liked the show. And I said, you've literally been sitting out on the sideline for 6 months because of a song. And then we go, that's very Karen-like. And he's like, you can call me Fantasy Karen. Anyway, Bob from Cali, Charger fan. What is going on, Bob? How can I dismantle your Charger hopes and dreams today?
Hey, do you think the hype over Marvin Harrison is a little high? I mean, I know he did some great things in college, but I have a feeling he's going to put up more numbers like Amon-Ra put up his first year, in which he had like 5 TDs, 912 yards, and not this whole 15 touchdowns, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 yards. The wide receiver room there, they have Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, McBride, Benson, Connor. I mean, that's kind of a formidable group with Paris Campbell at left tackle. They definitely have some weapons, but to say that he's going to go out there and put 15 touchdowns, 1,500 yards up in the first year,
scares you?
That seems like a lot to ask for.
Makes you a scared Scotty, Bob. I mean, Bob, no one's. If I told you he had 15 touchdowns and 1,500 yards, don't you think he'd be drafted like 1, 2, or 3 overall? Like if I could guarantee you he scores 1,500 yards, or he drops 1,500 yards and scores 15 touchdowns. I mean, if you drop 1,500 yards, you're gonna have like 120 receptions. Wouldn't you go number 1 or number 2 overall? That's all I'm asking. Can you hear me? Bob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I thought you dropped me.
No. Okay, so let me ask the question again. Do you think, Bob, that if he had 1,500 yards, he probably has like 120 receptions on that kind of yardage? So 120 receptions, 1,500 yards, and 15 touchdowns. If he scores, if I guaranteed you, I had the Gray's Book Sports Almanac from Back to the Future, and I guaranteed you he would have that stat line, wouldn't he go number 1, number 2, or number 3 overall?
You said 1,500 yards and how many touchdowns?
15 touchdowns, and you're probably going to have like 120 receptions on that easy, right? So wouldn't you go number 1, number 2, number 3 overall if you guaranteed? It's a simple question, Bob. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so who's telling you to draft him 1, 2, or 3 overall? Nobody. What you're hearing is draft him 12, 13 bookend territory, and his floor is going to get you 10 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, 1,300 yards, 90 to 100 receptions. No one on earth is telling you to bank on the ceiling value that he can bring to the table. So when you ask me, is he being overhyped? You're asking the whole wrong question. You're looking at this from a whole different weird angle. No one is saying to expect 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. That's his ceiling value that you get gift wrapped to you in a secret box that you may be able to open later and find. There's no guarantee for that, of course, but you're not having to draft him there, bro. So overhyped? No. Can he get his floor value? Almost guaranteed to get you top 5 or top 15 overall value back, like if he stays healthy all year? Yeah, probably guaranteed to give you top 15 overall player value. Because I don't see a world where he doesn't pull in 10, 11 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. No way. If he's healthy, there's just no way I can see him not getting at least that floor, which will give him that value. I think you're looking at it differently.
So basically he's going to put up Jamar Chase numbers his first year, and that's going to warrant him in his spot. I mean, I'm just.
I mean, how else can I put it? Okay, let me draw it for you. Here's round 1. Here's round 2. He's going in this bookend territory. All he's got to do to earn this is get that 1,300 yards and 10 to 11 TDs. Would you agree that that would give him enough value to warrant that pick? Probably. Like, you know, maybe it scores like 15 overall value or something like that. But this is very much a very good second round draft capital return, right? So I don't understand your question. I think you're looking at it from the ceiling value and you're judging the ceiling value and you're trying to act like everybody's talking about his ceiling value as why they're taking him 12 overall. They're taking him 12 overall because his floor is 1,300, 10 and 11 touchdowns. And his ceiling value is literally in the top 5 overall. He's got that kind of ceiling value that you do not have to pay for. You do not have to expect it. You don't even have to look at it if you don't want to. You can pretend it doesn't exist. You can say, I just expect this. This is all I want, and I'm not going to think about anything else. That's fine. But he's 100% earning you second round value if he drops these numbers. And this is easy to me. This is a cakewalk. And I did.
Does Trey McBride make up for Marcus Brown leaving? Like, I'm trying to compare him to D-Hop when he was there and when they had Zach Ertz. I'm not sure if Zach Ertz was on the team at the time. But I'm just like, does he need another weapon? Does he need another guy?
You just got through, you're double talking. You're double talking Donnie right now. You just got through saying that there's almost too many weapons there for MHJ to thrive. And now you're worried about them not having enough weapons there. And Bob, I'm not mad at you. I'm trying to get you to like MHJ for who he is and not run away from him. I feel like you're scared for him. This is the fantasy football phobia that I talk about all the time, where I feel like people are scared of the player breaking up with them before they want to break up with them before they break up with, you. Like I feel like you're worried William when you don't need to be, because he costs you 12 overall value.
That's the first round. If you don't, I just feel like if this guy doesn't hit, it's going to be a lot of sadness and disappointment.
Is London or Garrett, and I'm not saying I don't love London or Garrett Wilson. We talked about this at the top of the show, but is London or Garrett Wilson any more guaranteed to exceed 1,300 yards and 10 to 11 touchdowns? The answer is no. Like, any one of those guys could get that stat line, and we'd be like, that's a good year. But I don't know that you're any more safer going Garrett Wilson or London over Harrison. I'm not saying I don't want to draft all of them and kind of mix it all up and have a diversified portfolio at the 12-13 turn, but I mean, bro, you're talking about, this isn't where Jamar Chase is sitting. You said he's going to have a Jamar Chase year. You don't need him to have a Jamar Chase year. You're not drafting him anywhere near Jamar Chase. Even though 12 is very close to the number 6, bro, in round 1, that's actually very far away. You're talking about double the ADP value practically.
Do you think as the season approaches, he starts going in the middle of the second round instead of going at the 1-2 turn?
No. I think if anything, he climbs to 9. And you're going to be out like Flynn. You're going to be off like a prom dress. You ain't hanging around for that one. I can tell you that right now because you barely want to draft this guy at 12. But that's right. Leave him for us, Bob. It's okay. And Bob, we're not going to always agree. And Bob, could he have a bad year? Could Kyler go down in week 1? I hope he doesn't. Like, anything can happen, Bob. Trust your gut. But my advice would be to diversify your portfolio in the direction of consuming enough MHJ so you don't miss out on this because you're scared. Okay? Don't oversaturate on any player. But I think you should definitely have enough shares to where, at least in best ball, Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, so you don't sit there and go, oh, damn, I'm watching MHJ drop loads all over the field, and I have no way to participate with any sort of happiness with this, and I'm rooting against him. And then you're going to be like, remember Ron Navy about a month or two ago said that he hopes MHJ gets hurt because he's going too high. All right. Anything else, Bob? Bob, anything else? Bob, I feel like whenever you leave, I feel like you always ask me loaded questions for negative responses. I feel like I always send you away, and I feel like I send you away on a negative note. You always ask me something that challenges instead of like, and I'm not saying that's bad. The show loves it. It's good for views. It's good for content. It's good for everything. I'm not complaining. But I also want to send you away as a happy camper once in a while. So maybe like think of a question that I can pump up for you.
And it's not that I'm not an MHJ fan. I'm a big Ohio State fan. I was not a fan of Jim Harbaugh, but then when he came here, I'm like, yeah, I'll hop on the bandwagon. He won at San Diego, won at Stanford, he won wherever he was. But I'm just very, very skeptical. People have been robbed in the past of picking first-round guys and then having them not pan out, resulting in basically everything just being flat-out ruined. I want it to be like, I don't know how to word it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Well, I definitely would guard my expectations with Harbaugh. I'm not saying he's going to fail. I've said that 1,000 times. People are going to say, Smitty, you said he was going to fail. I didn't say he was going to fail. I just said I don't agree with the way he's building.
With MHJ.
Oh.
With picking a guy in the first round.
Well, that's why best ball's there, bro. That's why you can do Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Links in the live chat, links in the description. Code Smitty, you'll get it done. That's why you play best ball, bro. So you can get a whole bunch of shares, and you can do a $5 draft, a $10 draft, a $25 draft, a $3 draft. You could even do those $3 leagues, like we dropped the private leagues, where you're only gonna get $20 if you win it, but you go 17 weeks and you pay $3 to get in, and just do a bunch of those and have diversified teams, and then you can kind of enjoy anything. But if you start fearing MHJ at the 12-13 turn because you feel like no rookie's done it like this before, how could this be? Name a rookie that's been able to skip the combine, not have a pro day, not sign the Fanatics deal, and just continues to act like he's a 2 or 3 year veteran in the league. A guy that's considered the best wide receiver prospect to ever grace the NFL. Like, those are all new things, right? So maybe you're going to see a new result, Bob. Keep an open mind.
Appreciate it.
All right, later, bro. Later. All right, Rockout says, do Washington Commanders schedule perdition. What's that mean, Rockout? What are we doing there? Rockout to the moon. Rock out. JJ will want 30 to 40 million. We already talked about that. I agree. That's definitely going above 35. He rejected a 33 or 34 million dollar deal last year before all the contracts got hiked up. So he's wanting 35 to 40 for sure. Rock out says, can you please let Adam Peters cook? Let him cook, Rock out. And I've got a new let him cook drop coming soon. Okay, so expect that to be added to the show by probably tonight, hopefully by tonight. Appreciate you, Rock out, dropping your 3 super chat wads on screen. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. I think that's all she wrote for tonight. I'll be back to draft tonight, so I'll see you all tonight. Thank you for being here. On that note, let's drop a little Bijan.
Hi, My name is B. John Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
And I guess rock out. Yeah, I guess it's simple to decode that. Sorry. Do Washington Commanders schedule prediction. Do a Washington Commanders schedule prediction. Okay. Let's do it officially tonight. But I'll say 10. I'll say 10. I'll say at least 9 wins. But let's hope for 10. Oh, that's crazy, Smitty. Okay. We'll see. Blackbeard, appreciate you. Appreciate my mod squad. Travis, if he's out there. Sick Nasty. Thank you, Blackbeard. Space Ricky, if he's out there. Terry Roberts, if he's out there somewhere. Appreciate you all. Vampy, if he's there somewhere. Any other mods that are in the building, I'm sorry if I didn't call you out, but I appreciate you.